Welcome back. Welcome back. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. You know, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the Roger Stone pardon, it turned out to be a commutation. And, you know, we did a little background. I was telling you, filling you in. In fact, if you go over to proamericareport.com, you can probably track through to the webinar I did on the Constitution according to President Trump, where I talked about the pardon power and all. But I knew that there were people that had been really digging into this over the years, journalists and others. And so I found one of them. Mark Hyman he's an Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist. He's done a whole bunch of stuff for many years, but he wrote a book on this, on the question that is very good, and that is the Hillary and Bill Clinton were really wild about the use of pardons. For people that kind of went into sort of cataclysmic shock that the president pardoned, or actually commuted Roger Stone, you got to listen to some of this. So first of all, welcome Mark Hyman, and his book is called Pardon Gate: How Bill and Hillary Clinton and Their Brothers Profited from Pardons. Welcome, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. And you're absolutely right, Ed. You know, first of all, let's just set the stage. The president's power for executive clemency, pardons, and commutations is absolute. And over the years, presidents, some have been generous, some less so. And once in a while, we roll our eyes at someone who's received clemency. And certainly the political left has gone crazy over Roger Stone's commutation, but nothing compares to what happened really in the last 18 months of the Bill Clinton presidency. Listeners should understand that Bill Clinton was actually one of the stingiest presidents in all of history. In his first 4 years, his first term, he only gave away 54 executive clemency decisions. Only Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, gave away fewer, 45. And there are only 5 million people in the country, not nearly 300 million when Bill Clinton's during his first term. But his first 6 years as president, Bill Clinton was very stingy, barely gave anything away. And that all changed in August of 1999, a mere 2 weeks after Hillary Clinton announced she was going to run for the U.S. Senate. And then he became one of the most generous presidents when it came to pardons and commutations.
And I didn't actually see that coming. We're talking with Mark Hyman. When I first saw this book, and it's available paperback, Kindle. I got the Kindle copy, and when I didn't see that coming, I thought, well, it's typical the Clintons. Bill Clinton wants to be loved by everybody. He starts to think about his Clinton Foundation, but the connection you have on timing is Hillary's running, and so now they directly want to do favors for people that can help the race. But walk us through. Some of these are outrageous. The numbers, the last days in office, there's nobody at the Department of Justice looking at some of these. It's going straight to Bill Clinton's desk. Walk us through how crazy it was.
You're absolutely right, Ed. So the way the process works, and it's been this way for decades, someone fills out a clemency application. It goes through the Department of Justice, reviews it for accuracy and makes sure everything's done properly. Then it goes to the FBI to make certain that the applicant hasn't engaged in further criminal activity since their conviction. Then the pardon attorney then moves it on to the president's desk, and then he or she reviews it, makes a decision, yes or no. Right. In the last day he was as president, Bill Clinton gave away 140 pardons and 36 commutations, 176 clemency decisions. 47 of those never went to the DOJ or the FBI for review. 47, just think about that. But it got worse. 30 recipients never even filed an application. They didn't even put pen to paper. They just got them. It was word of mouth. It was handshakes. It was secret deals. A wink and a nod. Susan McDougal, one of the business partners of the Clintons in the whole Whitewater fiasco, that whole scandal, she got a pardon, never even requested one. The process was so wild that in the final night, Bill Clinton was giving slips of paper to the pardon attorney and saying, pardon this person, pardon that person. And the pardon attorney had no idea who they were. He was frantically searching the internet trying to find out who they were, the proper spelling of their name, what they were convicted of, so he could fill out the pardon certificates. In some cases, people got pardon certificates with their names misspelled, mailed to the wrong address, and instead of saying your pardon for the federal crime of tax fraud, it just said your pardon for federal crimes, because he didn't even know what the people were convicted of. That's how wild it was in the final hours.
Well, so was it in your book? You talk about Roger Clinton and Hugh and Tony Rodham. So the brother of Bill Clinton is Roger Clinton, and maybe half brother, and then Hugh and Tony Rodham are Hillary's brothers. They were the ones that were doing a lot of this. Are they the ones that did the Mark Rich one, the famous one that was pretty clearly everybody sort of knew that one? Is that who was behind it, or was it just a free for all kind of coming from every angle?
Everybody was making something. Everybody in the Clinton orbit. Now, Hillary was collecting political and financial IOUs. She was stockpiling it. She used when she ran for the Senate, and later on, her 2 runs for the U.S. presidency. But Bill Clinton, when he raised less than $3 million towards his $200 million price tag for his Clinton library, ended up giving away pardons on behalf of donors who were giving as much as promising $1 million for the Clinton library because, well, we'll give you this money if in turn you pardon so-and-so. So Bill was doing it, Hillary's doing it. The brothers, Hugh and Tony Rodham and Roger Clinton, each made hundreds of thousands of dollars hustling pardons and commutations on behalf of people who are willing to pay for them. Just think about this. In the final months, Roger Clinton was cold calling clemency applicants, offering to get them executive clemency in return for cash payments. One of the people I spoke to said, how did Roger Clinton even know that I applied? That's not public information. How did he know I had a clemency application in? And how did he know what my personal cell phone number is that I didn't give to anybody? Well, clearly somebody gave it to him. And it was either Bill gave it to him or someone at the direction of Bill gave it to him. So Roger Clinton was cold calling people saying, I'll get you your pardon. This is what it's going to cost, usually a 6-figure fee.
We're talking with Mark Hyman. By the way, on Twitter, you can find him at Mark Hyman, Hyman is his last name, and markhyman.tv is his website, and the book, again, is Pardongate. So to put an obvious end to this conversation, Mark, there's nothing dramatically abusive about President Trump doing commutation of Roger Stone. In fact, I was looking while I was preparing for this that, Obama did hundreds and hundreds on his last day. I mean, in some ways, we just tolerate this as part of what is in the Constitution, right? I mean, it is going to happen. Someone's going to complain. It always does. And away we go, right?
That's correct. And a lot of presidents have given away executive clemency that we've rolled our eyes over. Perhaps a lot of us don't agree with it. And what the president has said about Roger Stone, and here's his premise. There was no underlying crime of Russia collusion. So if there's no underlying crime, how can somebody be convicted of obstructing a crime that didn't exist? That was his entire premise. And I want to remind people, he commuted the sentence. So Roger Stone is still a convicted felon. The president said, you just don't have to go to prison for it. So he didn't go so far as to even pardon him. People can take some solace in that if they happen to disagree with it. They talked about a cover-up. But remember, Susan McDougal went to jail for months because she refused to testify against the Clintons in the Whitewater scandal. She was in jail for contempt of court, and then she got a pardon without even requesting one. So the process, I think, when you look at abuse, nothing rises to the level of what Bill and Hillary Clinton, their brothers Hugh, Tony Rodham, and Roger Clinton did, as well as friends and friends of friends of the Clintons and Harold Ickes and John Podesta, and the list goes on and on. William Cunningham. All these folks who are related to Clintons seem to have their finger in the pie, oftentimes profiting.
We're talking with Mark Hyman. Mark, last thing. This book, again, his book is Pardongate, How Bill and Hillary Clinton and Their Brothers Profited from Pardons. It gives you a great glimpse into how the whole thing works in general, as Mark's pointed out. Generally it goes to the Department of Justice first. You said it well, they make sure that somebody's not committed another crime, that they're being, pardoned for the right thing, and all the kinds of housekeeping you need to do. Is somebody going to look at closely or has somebody done at the Obama? Down the stretch, Obama went wild with clemency and pardon too. Is that being looked at, or has it been looked at, or is it sort of old news?
I don't think anyone's looked at it yet. It's something I may take another look at myself, but I will just say in general, President Obama pardoned a lot of folks and I will give him some props for this. He pardoned folks who were first-time nonviolent drug offenders who had decades-long prison sentences. And you might say,
I see,
setting somebody away for 50 or 60 years for a first-time nonviolent drug offense, is that reasonable? Right. I will give him props for that. I think he did it with a genuine care for perhaps this is excessive, but I haven't scrubbed all of this. It's interesting. One quick thing before we go. One of the reasons why the FBI looks at these is to make certain that no one's engaged in criminal activity since their last conviction. Two of the people
Right.
the Bill Clinton pardoned were actually under active FBI investigation for committing further crimes or alleged crimes. One of whom, Glenn Broswell, actually was later arrested, indicted, tried, and convicted for further felonies. Fortunately for him, when he was sentenced as a first-time felon and not as a repeat offender.
Wow, that's great. Well, Mark, thank you. It's a very interesting topic, and it's a good book. Pardongate: How Bill and Hillary Clinton and their brothers Profited from Pardons, by Mark Hyman. Available anywhere you buy books. You can see it. I think I looked it up at Amazon. Thanks, Mark, again, and we'll track it down and keep me on your email list when you see stuff like this. It's a great topic. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, we'll take another quick break and be right back. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Be back in a minute.